Esse outro que comprou a bateria eu não consigo botar aqui no computador, não sei porquê. Esse aqui eu plugo aqui e não tá funcionando. Será que é porque eu tenho que usar o USB ali que tá ali?
Já tá ao vivo.
Hello everyone!
Ok.
Já tem uma pessoa na sala aqui, tá? Não sei quem, tô reiniciando. I put this new microphone here on the drum.
Aqui, ó, você gerenciava dois chats, tá? Não, cara, não só fazer isso. Aqui, ó, esse aqui. Estático. Esse aqui, ó. Esse é o Você mexeu muito na câmera. Cuidado pra não mexer a câmera. Esse é o slide. Estático do lado, estático do outro, estático do outro. Tá? Se mexer nessa câmera aqui, vai mexer com a câmera. They're all set. All right. We're all set. Almost.
Eu não sei como é que eu vou gerenciar o chat no...
Oi?
Eu vou gerenciar o chat no Eduardo com a cara.
Mas eu vejo. Eu consigo ver o chat. Ok? Ignore set. Not just me. It's live right now.
Oh, no, show?
No, we're gonna tweet. Have to tweet. I'm gonna tweet.
Okay. Yes.
Retweet.
Yes. Yes.
We have 2 links. Vamos no Twitter, só divulgar o YouTube melhor, né?
Acho que só divulga um, senão
Vai dar confusão, né?
muita opção.
Então só divulga no YouTube. Twitter como eu no YouTube, que a Yolande vai retweetar. So Rodrigo's going to tweet the link and then you can retweet. Okay, so welcome everyone. Let me say hello to Heather. Hi Heather, sorry I was there. How's everything? Thanks for coming. Alright, so thanks everyone for coming. We're going to have a very interactive discussion here. That's the idea, right? Because we have lots of speakers. So let me start with a few tips, right? Let me show what we're doing here, and so you might be interested in this. So first things first, you have to close that window, right? Just mute, yes. So for you to be a speaker, for you to improve your speaking, you have to have feedback on your presentation. And a great way to have feedback on a presentation is record your presentation. Right? So even if the event doesn't record a presentation, there's a few things that you can do to record a presentation. So one is the one I'm using right now. So this is the Zoom recorder. I'm just going to adjust the volume here a little bit. So the Zoom recorder is it's cheap. It's very light, extremely light, and you can just turn it on. I mean, this one records like 100 hours of audio, right, or something like this, in an 8 gigabytes card, right? So you can carry it around with you. You can put it in front of the speaker in your presentation. So just press record in front of the speaker, and it records in a chair in the events. Or if you prefer, you can do what I'm doing here. That is, I'm recording on a lapel microphone to here, and so we're going to have a clear recording of the video of this thing here, right? So and then you can you press record, put it in your pocket, and forget about it, right? Okay. So that's a good thing. The other.
Are you sure that it's recording?
Yes, it's recording. There's a big red line.
Okay.
There's a big red light. You have to make sure that the volume here is correct. That's one thing that I missed a few times. Is not adjusting the volume so the volume gets crazy. Yeah, so like I was doing right now. Yeah, so a lot better now. Okay, so now the one thing is you're gonna mess up. For example, you see that I have a tape here because I did a very important presentation. It was a great presentation. It was amazing, and it was not recorded because I put the microphone on the out, right? And I put it in the pocket, and the sound was terrible. But that one was recorded because I also had the microphone in the camera, and the microphone in the camera picked it up good enough that they could use it. So the thing is speaking is one of those things that the more you do it, the better you get. And so if you never record, you just try to record when you have something important, that time this is gonna be important, you're gonna mess up, right? So it's better that you always record. You try to always record so you get on the mood of always do recording, and then you're gonna mess up sometimes, and you're gonna get it right. Okay. The other thing is we're recording here with this Mevo camera right here. It's a tiny camera. It has this is the battery. If you want an extra battery, the cool thing about it is that it follows you. So you set up, and so it automatically cuts you and it follows you around on stage, and that one also transmits live. So we're transmitting live to YouTube from the camera. It's connecting to the Wi-Fi and transmitting live. So that's another good one that you can use. That's more. This here costs like $100 or less. The Zoom. That one costs $200, so it's a little bit more expensive. But it's another way for you to record your talks and presentations, right? So the more you record your stuff, the more content you have, right? Third thing we're doing here, we're transmitting from this laptop here for Webinar Jam. It's just a webinar software. We're transmitting from here.
That we just forgot to start.
Oh, and you see, we forgot to turn live. Right? So that is the point. I mean, we're doing 3 things. We're recording 3 things, and we missed one, right? So this is, the more you do it, the more use you're gonna get to it, right? And Yolanda has a big box with recording equipment. If you can have that, that's great. That's wonderful. But it's very hard for you to do in your talks, right? It's very hard for you to do. It's not very mobile, right? So this one, yeah, we're doing 3 different things, so we kind of took a little bit more time. But if you're just doing one, for example, we could set up easily.
So you are recording, live streaming? What's the third one?
We record the audio.
Oh.
We're recording the audio.
Yeah.
We're live streaming from this. We're live streaming from that and recording there.
I see.
So that one records in live streams, and that one is just live stream. Good? So it's
because sometimes the audio of the cameras maybe get some noisy around. So if you have the laptop, it's better to on the edition.
yes, right. So now we can have the material to edit later, right? So so the cost, yes, the Zoom costs about $100. You can, if you don't live in the US, you can buy one and get it delivered before you leave back. You go back. I suggest you do this. This Mevo camera costs $200. So the Mevo camera has 2 versions. One is it's like 500, almost 500. I think it's $300. So a cheaper one costs $300, or I don't know. Well, I think the cheaper one costs $200. And the expensive one costs $400. So the difference between the cheap one and the expensive one is that the expensive one has a better antenna, so you can record from farther away. You don't need that, right? so you can just buy the cheap one. There's no other difference on it. So and that's it, right? So I think that's so. You guys heard of soft skills and hard skills, right? We always like to say that software development is a hard skill and presenting is a soft skill, right? That's not true. They're both soft skills. Software development is a soft skill. You have hard skills on software development. For example, learning the language, it's a hard skill. Learning how to, developing software is a soft skill. What is the difference between a hard skill and a soft skill? A hard skill is something that you repeat many times, and your objective is to do the same thing exactly right. So, for example, if you're playing golf, right, the hitting the ball on golf, it's a hard skill. It has to be precise. You have to do exactly the same movement every time. And the better you do the movement, the better it's going to be. Typing on your keyboard, that's a hard skill. It's very precise. You can't miss it, right? You have to repeat many times to do it. Now, anything that it varies, when you're doing it, it's a soft skill. So software development is a soft skill. You're looking around, you're understanding the problem, you're doing different things to solve the problem, right? So you recognize the problem, you apply different patterns to that's a soft skill. That's a presentation. A presentation is a soft skill. So you have to look at the audience and you see, oh, there's a lot of people, you do one thing. There's less people, you do a lot of things. You're recording and transmitting, you do a lot of different things. It's different every time you do it. So there's no 2 presentations alike. So that's why for you to improve a soft skill, you gotta do it, right? You gotta experiment in different ways. right? So the more you experiment, the better you're gonna get. And so, and the cool thing is, you know, you have to experiment in you know, the more times you do it, the better. So the shorter the feedback, the better. So for example, if you need to do like, oh, I'm going to improve my presentation by doing presentations at Oracle CodeOne. How many times Oracle CodeOne happens? Once a year, right? So you're not, your feedback is too long, right? It's very long. So for example, we just received last week, I didn't receive because I didn't get that, but we just received last week the notification of the rock stars for JavaOne last year, right? It took a year for you to get a notification that you're a rock star. So that is not a good feedback loop. It's not going to help you to improve your talk, right? So you have to have good feedback loop. So that's so if you can do, so instead of you so every time you record your talk, you can go and see and look back, right? That's like one feedback loop. But if you do this kind of thing we're talking about here, where you record shorter talks, you record 5 minutes talk, for example. A 5 minutes talk, you can repeat the same talk 10 times in an hour. So you have 10 times the feedback of a longer talk. So it's important you come in, you record yourself doing a 5 minutes talk. Because then you can do 10 times in 1 hour and you have a lot of feedback from what you're doing. Right? So it's better that you just kind of do a very short one and and record yourself. So that's why this camera, for example, helps a lot. There's another one you can use if you prefer. You can use your cell phone. That's another one. That's another equipment that I'd like to show you. And then we're gonna really start, right? So it's a kind of guitar, right? It's a cool equipment. I'm not gonna demo it. I'm just gonna show it. So this is. It's a stabilizer, right? You put your cell phone here, and it stabilizes, so you can move around and doesn't shake. But this one here is cool because it's a USB. I mean, it has a Bluetooth connection with your phone. So you can actually put it on a tripod and connect your phone to it, and the phone recognizes your face, and then it tracks you when you're presenting. So you walk around. And that's going to move the phone. It's going to track your face, so you can present. So that's also another one that you can use. You don't need that camera. You could use this one here and use the phone to stream or to record anything like this. And you know the problem with the phone is that the phone usually doesn't have enough battery to record like a very long one, right? So, but you know, so that's another one that you might be interested in. This is great for you to record like when you're walking. You know, those guys that kind of walk around events and showing things and do interviews like this, that's also great because you know, it gets very, very smooth, right? But it has a cool thing. If you want to record yourself, it's also very good because you know you can just plug it in and it's going to follow you, and you can present and you can kind of record videos and everything like that.
What's it called, brother?
So yeah, this I was trying to look at the name of it to tell you, but. It's the Zhiyun. Yeah, showing the camera. Yeah, Zhiyun. Xeon. Yeah, showing the camera here. Xeon. It's they call it a stabilizer gimbal or something like this. Yes.
Is there a camera on that?
No, there's not a camera. You put your phone. You put your cell phone on it. Right, you connect, you know, you put your cell phone here, and then it stabilizes your cell phone for you, so you can walk around. But it also, you know, you can also connect with Bluetooth, and then if you do the other way around, you put it in a tripod, you connect in a tripod, and then you will move the phone, right? Because this is it's powered, right? You're gonna see when I turn it on, you're gonna see, you see. So it allows you, you know, it keeps the phone, it's not going to be balanced because there's no phone here, right? But it keeps the phone perfect balance. But if you want to put the phone here, okay. All right, so, you see, it got crazy. All right. Okay, so yeah, so if you do this, right, put your phone here, okay, then you turn it on. All right. So you see, you're gonna keep your phone perfect stabilized, right? So you can, you can move around, and it's great for if you're recording anything moving, it's great. But that's one thing. But the other thing that it has, you can put a tripod, and you configure the Bluetooth, connect with the Bluetooth on the phone, and then it recognizes your face, and then it will move the phone and adjust the phone to follow your face. So the two things that are useful for you to do, if you're recording videos, right? If you are a speaker, videos are your friends. Oops, that was close. So if you are a speaker, videos are your friends, right? Because every time you go, you present or you do things online, it's great that you have, that you have videos. People love to see you. Even if you do podcasts, right? A lot of people do podcasts. But if you do podcasts and you record yourself recording the podcast, people will watch you recording your podcast, right? So if you're a speaker, videos are your friend. You should do it. You should learn how to do it. You should stop being afraid in front of a camera because it's important. Okay? So, because what we're going to do here is, that's the whole idea here is for us to practice our talk, right? So, I want a volunteer. Who's a volunteer? Come on, Paul. You're a volunteer. Good. So we're gonna start right on exercise. Then we go with some things, right?
What are we doing?
Doing an exercise. So what is your talk at the events?
I'm doing 20 years of people, presentations, and pizza.
Okay.
20 years about running a Java users group in San Diego.
20 years of running your Java group. That's very good. So that's your presentation. Okay.
It is.
So one of the most important skills of a speaker is to talk about their own subject from the point of view of the audience. A lot of speakers think that they are here to present their talk. No, you're here to make the audience understand what you want to say. Right? So it's always about the audience, it's never about you. So can I say something that's going to hurt, Paul?
Okay, I'm ready.
No one cares about you.
You're right.
Right? No one cares about you. So people don't come here to see you. They come here because they have some kind of problem and they see your presentation as a way to solve their problem.
Right.
Right? So you're going to talk about 20 years of a job group.
Yes.
So I need another volunteer. Come here. Yeah. So Barry, you're going to be the audience.
Yeah.
So you tell me what kind of movie that you like, or a TV series, or maybe a book, or something for entertainment that you like.
Okay, F is for fun. It's an animation cartoon.
It's an do you know that one?
I don't.
No, he doesn't know that one. It has to be one. It has to be one that he knows.
Okay, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. Do you know The
I
Simpsons?
do know the Simpsons.
All right. So here's your challenge.
My challenge.
Right? You're going to talk about Java user groups.
Yeah.
Right? To someone that he's only interested about The Simpsons.
Okay.
All right? So you have to talk about, I'll give some hints, like 5 things I've learned about running a Java group watching The Simpsons, for example. That could be a good one, right? Or,
You're faster than I am.
right, anything. So now you're going to position your presentation for someone that only wants to hear about Simpsons, okay?
Cool, big challenge.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the users group. Say, did you catch that last episode of The Simpsons?
I did, yeah.
You did? What did you think about Bart and writing on the chalkboard all the time?
Yeah. He's always in trouble, I guess. He's
Yeah,
always doing
yeah.
punishment.
So the users group is sometimes in trouble too. We were always looking for speakers, and I don't know, it just didn't come around that something like what Bart was doing in the classroom, which is why he got into trouble. I just don't understand what's Bart's problem. Why wouldn't he get in front of mushroom and speak?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't like authority. It just wants to do his own thing.
Do his own thing. Okay, well, that's pretty good. At the users group, we like our speakers to do their own thing, to come up and present about a topic that they're very interested in. That way they feel more comfortable and whatnot. Do you have any issues with talking about your technology that you're using?
Yeah,
Is that good? Is that good? Do you guys like that?
I like it.
Yeah, right. Excellent. No, that was excellent. You see, okay, so let me some good things here, right? So he asked him, did you watch the last episode of Simpson, right? You know, and of course we're setting things up here, but if you're in an event, for example, right? You know, you come to the guy and he was wearing a Simpsons t-shirt. You know he likes Simpsons, right? So you can start a conversation from something that he said or something that you saw in him, right? You know, he comes here and see, oh, you know, you're a Java champion, right? You know that we need Java champions in our user group. So you know, so you start from the audience point of view. But he did something that you can do in your presentations, right? When you come in, you can ask people, right? So here, who is using Java 8? Who is using Java 9? Who is using, no, you can ask people, and so you know who the audience is, and then you can talk about things from the point of view of the audience. The thing, so he interacted, that's very good, right? The second thing that he did here is that, you know, he used the things that from the cartoon to talk about, oh, you know, the user groups I was in trouble too, you know, so to connect both things. So he's like, oh, that's interesting because I only care about Simpsons, right? So that was perfect. Thanks a lot, Paul. That's excellent. So now, so Barry, you stay here. So now you're gonna move to the other side here. So Barry, you are the speaker now.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So what is your talk at Java at CodeOne?
My talk's about Java 10 challenges.
Java 10 challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's gonna be the next volunteer? He can't be here.
Okay.
No, he cannot be here. Because you're his co-speaker, so you can't be here. So Yolanda, you're gonna be. Yes. So Yolanda, you say this side. So Yolanda, you are the audience, right? I know you weren't here for the previous exercise, so you don't know where is going on. That's good. So tell me a TV series or a movie that you like. You know that you know.
Okay, Star Wars.
It's Star Wars.
Ooh.
Good. All right. So Star Wars, right? So you know your audience only wants to hear about Star Wars, right? Your audience doesn't want to hear about what you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to talk about the 10 development challenges from the point of view of someone that wants to hear about Star Wars.
Okay.
And while you're thinking, I'm going to give you some time to really think. How do you realize that, right? So you know, let's say you're in an event and you look at Yolanda and she has a Star Wars t-shirt, right? So you can say, oh, that's cool. You know that the challenge to implement Java in your project are the same challenge that people in Star Wars face? She's like, oh, I'm interested, right? Because now there is a connection between me and you.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Cool.
Okay. Hi, Yolanda. Hi, thanks for coming to my presentation. So I see you've got a Star Wars t-shirt on. So who's your favorite character in Star Wars?
Wookiee.
The Wookiee.
Yeah, the
So
Wookiee.
do you know that not everyone can speak the Wookiee language, and sometimes developers have problems, you know, talking and communicating their ideas, but using some of the new features with Java 10, we can help that communication. It makes it a lot easier because the code's more, it's less verbose. Would you like to hear a bit more about that? About some of the new features,
yes, that sounds really great. I mean, I'm really interested, like, how can we really communicate better?
Yeah.
Especially with a foreign language. I mean, everybody's talking different languages.
Yeah. So
That's
that's the thing we like about Java, because we can communicate the same language.
Anything about the JVM?
that's good. Was that a good segue for him? Yeah. All right. Good. So what? Yeah, you're next. Don't go away. You're next. So, you know, again, he used the same tactic, right, of talking to the audience, right? You know, and a few other things that you can do, right, is that, you know, if you don't have this high interaction, actually you put yourself in trouble, right? Because you're just asking, what is the character that you like? Because now you're actually, instead of you talking generic about Star Wars, Now you're having to focus on one particular character. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You did very well, right? But you're just making your life harder,
Yeah.
right? You could have said something more generic, like oh, I see you love Star Wars, and you see there's 5 things I learned about Star Wars that are the similar challenges that Java developers have, and then one of them could be a lot of people talk different language. In Star Wars, you have Wookiee that no one understands, and that's the same thing in Java, blah blah blah. So you could give yourself more leeway to talk, right? But that's okay. You interact with the audience is always good, right? Okay. Congratulations, thanks. So every time you come on a stage, you have to connect with the audience. Anything that you do to connect with the audience, I'm going to give you some ideas of things that you can do to connect with the audience in a minute. But anything you can do to connect with the audience is great. And every time that you're able to position your talk in a way that the audience is interested about, it helps you. And so we're using here Star Wars or The Simpsons, right? But think about other things, right? So you want to talk about user groups where your audience is interested in cloud computing. Right? You want to talk about challenge of Java, but you're doing this in an event that is focused on artificial intelligence. It's exactly the same problem. So how do I talk about challenges of Java in an artificial intelligence problem? It's the same problem. This year is harder. Right? Make sense? So Yolande, what is your talk in Java?
So my talk is about community.
Community, that's very good. So who is going to be the next volunteer? Heather? Or you? Rafael? Who wants to be next? Okay, come here. Next volunteer. So Rafael, let's make this very hard for you, okay? Yes, right. Step here so we can all be in the camera. So, tell me a TV series, a movie, or something that you.
Something common.
Okay, I like Matrix.
Matrix? You like Matrix?
Sure.
All right. So you have to talk about community from the point of view of someone that only wants to hear about the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
So a good way to talk about this could be I always just like this example. 5 things I've learned about community development that I learned watching The Matrix. That's always a good way, right? Or 3 things doesn't mean one thing. That one thing that I've learned about building community by watching The Matrix, or the one thing that The Matrix taught me that helped me build communities better, right? That's always a good start. Okay, ready?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So remember that character, the Oracle?
Oh. It reminds me.
So everything somehow it's subtle but really inspiring, the development of the story. So this is so I'm at Oracle, and this is a little bit the role that I'm taking. So what I would like to have some feedback from you from the activities that you're doing, and so I can help you better.
Yeah, that's amazing. See one thing that she did here. She did something, like an advanced level here, right? A lot of people talk about how we tell stories in our talks. What Yolande did here, she did a comparison between her work as a community manager with the Oracle at the movie. So the Oracle at the movie, she never tells you what to do, right? She just talks with you, inspires you to do things. That's what she's saying. I'm like the Oracle. I don't force people to do anything. I inspire them to go do their own stuff. So just by doing this, there's so many things that she said on this, she did a metaphor, right? Yeah. She did a metaphor. There's so many things that she didn't say, but it was implied on that one phrase. So if you want to tell a story in your presentation, that's a great way of doing this, right? You get a story that everyone knows about. In this case, she's getting a story that she knows he knows about, because that's one he wants to hear. So you get a story that everyone knows about, right? Either movie or a child's story or something that people actually go through, and you compare to what you're doing, so everyone gets everything that that's one. Oh, actually, I should start writing things down, because we have to talk about emotions.
Behind the notebook.
Oh, right here. Okay. Yeah. So let's not. let's not forget the things, right? So we talk about, story is one thing. Emotions, right? Emotions, another one, right? And what's the other one that I said I was going to talk in a minute? I'll remember in a minute, but.
Did you say metaphors as well, or is it that?
Yes, it's kind of, yes, part of the story, yes, but, no, okay, there's another one that I've already forgot, but, how to get attention from the audience, right? To connect with the audience, yes, that's the one I talked before. Okay, so yeah, so we can talk about those topics, so don't forget. So what she did here, so when you tell a story, right, here. So when you tell a story, if you use metaphors like this, your story goes a lot deeper, right? Because now everyone understands what you're talking about, even if you don't go into little details, right? Just by saying, remember the oracle from the Matrix. Boom! She got so much information in that one phrase, and that everyone can follow her conversation from that. Okay? Excellent, you land. So, no, Rafael, you stay here. Yes. Alright, so, Rafael, what's your topic?
On the Java challenge?
You're doing Java challenge.
Yes.
Is there a second talk or just?
It's a second talk.
No, I'm saying, do you have another talk besides that?
No.
No, okay, so we're going to use that one. Who hasn't gone yet? Yes, Sebastian. Come here. All right. So Sebastian, tell us, let's make it very hard.
Oh no.
Very hard.
Bring it on.
And while you're thinking, I'm gonna add one more topic here, because I know Sebastian is doing his first international talk here, right? So first time. I'm just gonna add one more time. First time, right? That is an important question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. The Bourne series, Jason Bourne, the movies. Do you know that?
I know. I don't know this movie. Could you tell me?
No, another one. Yeah, no.
Well, you said something like that.
Right, that was hard, but
Very hard.
No, it's not hard that he doesn't know. It's hard for him to do. So another one.
Can we? Not a movie, but like basketball.
Basketball. That's good. Basketball. So you walk around this guy. So you're invited to a conference, right? With basketball players, right? And then you have to come here. So all he wants you to hear is about basketball, and you have to talk about the 10 challenges of Java, right? Okay, you ready?
Thank you. Really easy one. Okay.
All right.
So you really like basketball games.
Absolutely.
So probably you like to see the best one playing, right? You like to see the best player doing scoring.
Yeah, LeBron James, Stephen Curry.
So I bet you want to be the best as well. So with our presentation, you can become the best because we are going to present really core skills of Java, and then by solving them, you're gonna be improving your skills, and then you can become the best. So I recommend that you watch the games because you want to see them doing their best, and you are sure that they train really hard to get there. They work really hard, and then it's the same thing with the challenge. So you're gonna test your skills there. You're gonna practice hard. You're gonna work hard so that you can achieve your goal.
All right, so I can become.
All right. Okay, so let me interrupt you here. Yes, you did well, right? But you went completely on the tangent, right? You compared you like basketball, so you want to be better, right? But you didn't talk about the challenge, the Java challenge at all, right?
Yeah, I said he can improve his skills.
Yeah, he can, but his skills is basketball, right? What has the Java challenge have to do with anything of that?
It's because when he watches the game, he sees.
I know. I'm just making sure. I understand. It was good, right? But let's kind of. So one good thing that you have to understand when you're practicing is a lot of times it's easier. It's actually easier. It sparks your creativity if you restrain things, right? So if you reduce the scope, right, it's going to be more interesting, right? So so just kind of use the phrase I said. 5 things I've learned about Java challenges. Watching basketball.
But I don't watch basketball.
Come on, you know what the game, right? Yes, okay. It's all right. So no, just restrain a little bit more, right? So he talked about basketball. So say 1 thing or 2 things or 3 things that I've learned. On conquering Java challenges that I've learned by watching basketball.
Ooh.
Right? Because that's more specific, right? You can say, man, you love basketball, right? I do love basketball too. Because I've learned Java better by watching basketball. That's intriguing. Right? Isn't it? So how do you learn Java better by watching basketball? Or soccer? You know soccer.
Yeah, soccer is better.
All right, okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So 1 thing I've learned to improve my Java skills by watching soccer.
Okay. So well, 1 thing that I learned by watching football is that always when we are playing football, we need a strategy. So we need to think in a logic to achieve our final goal, that's scoring. So I think with Java is the same, because we have to produce a logic, we have to think on a strategy to solve a specific problem. So we take a problem and then we define the strategy until we get the goal. So programming in Java is the same thing. We have to solve a problem and think of a strategy.
That's great, right? You see that you constrain the problem. Sometimes it's easier for you to actually come up with something, right? And this is the thing that we want, right? So now, think about this, right? You're talking to someone that is interested in basketball, and the thing I said, in the event with all people basketball, he might not even be a programmer. But what he just mentioned about, software development, he was explaining software developer to someone that doesn't know software development. Because he's comparing, it's the same thing, it's a strategy, it could be like team player, right?
Yeah.
All of those things could be relationships, and that's how you become a great speaker. When it's not about you, it's not about your presentation, it's not about your slides, it's not about what you prepare, it's about making the other person understand what is your message. And sometimes you have to completely change your message. There's a good exercise you can do is how to explain, for example, how to explain, lambda strings to a child. You see? It's like, oh man, right? So that's the same thing, right? It's that you have to understand, as a speaker, you have an important message to share, right? But if the audience does not understand your message, you lost time, they lost time, it's a complete waste. So you have to adapt to the audience every single time. Make sense?
Oh, it does make sense.
All right. Thanks, Rafael. Very good, man. You did twice. So now you're going to be here. You are. So what's your talk about?
My talk is about the N+1 query problem.
The N+1 query problem. Let me tell you one thing. I don't think I ever thought about the N+1 query problem. I don't think I ever thought about this. Okay. But since you talked about your presentation, right? I'm hearing it everywhere.
Okay, suddenly everyone's talking about it.
Right. So, at the Java Champions meeting yesterday, there's a lot of jokes about the N+1 problem. Really? Everyone referencing, everyone mentioned at some point around. So you have a good topic, man.
Did you record those jokes?
Oh yeah, there's one. There's an easy one, right? There's two biggest problem on software development, right? There is cache. What's the one? It's something caching, and I think it's performance, caching, and the n plus one, and the off by one problem. So there's two big problems. It's performance, caching, and off by one errors. So that was a good one. All right. So you're going to talk about the off by one errors, the n plus one carry problem. So on you have. You're going to be the audience.
An audience.
Right, you're the audience. So you're the audience. So tell us something that you love, TV or movies or books or any story, something that's well known but that you like.
It's well known.
Yeah, so you know. He's from Canada, so you know.
Like Game of Thrones, you probably know that.
Game of Thrones, you know Game of Thrones?
Well, I know the series. I'm ashamed to say that I just watched a few episodes. I didn't watch.
That's
the
good.
entire series.
A few episodes, you know what it's about, right?
Right. You know enough from just the trailers.
Right. Yes. It's medieval wars.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good.
It's women and power.
Right. All right. You see, women in power.
You know what I really like.
You know what she's interested in, right? So women in power and the n plus one problem.
Well, looks like we kept the artist for the end.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. 5 things I've learned. 5 reasons why women can't be in power because of the n plus one problem.
Should be in power.
Or should be in power. That's good. That's another one. Yes.
Oh wow.
There you go. We've stumped it. Leave it
Well,
to
yeah.
me.
When we were doing the other examples, I actually come up with like an idea, an analogy, like to try to explain it.
Right.
But then I was hoping that the subject that we're going to come in was even remotely close to that analogy, but it's not. So.
Okay. So try your analogy first.
Well, I was just thinking about because you mentioned book. Like if you're doing books on Amazon, for example, let's say there's 5 books that you want to order. You shop for them and you love. There's 5 titles and I want to read those books. So you want to order them. Would you order them like one by one, or would you just order at once all those 5 books so that you can receive them all at once, so you can enjoy them and you can decide which one you want to read first instead of having to wait. Like if you order book 1 and book 2 separately, like the first book can arrive 2 days later, the second book can arrive 5 days later. So would it be better if you could instead just order everything all at once?
As long as it was about women.
Well, yeah, of course.
So you buy 5.
Good point.
You buy 5 books about women in power.
I'm helping you out here.
Okay, so just one thing. She's talking about the Game of Thrones, that it is a series of 5 books. Right? So, or more books, right? I don't know. So I know. So there's several books, right? Yeah. So it is a series of books. So you can say, when Game of Thrones are several books. Do you want to buy all of them together, or just want to buy one by one? Okay. So now your analogy works. Okay.
Because if you would like to order to order 5 books of the Games of Thrones series, I would assume you would like to read the first book first. You don't want to start with the last one. So if you order them separately, what if you receive the book 5 first? Then what do you start? You still cannot start reading before you actually receive the first book. If you can group all your order at once, you get all the 5 books. So then you can take a look start reading the first one. So that's pretty much what the n+1 query is. The n here in this case would be those 5 separate orders on Amazon. So to solve that, just order all at once.
Okay, that's reasonable. All right. Okay, so because we just let you go with your analogy that you already thought about.
Okay.
So this is an important lesson that you have to understand. You see, we're all speakers here, right? We're talking here about improving our talk. So while we were talking about improving our talk, he was not paying attention and thinking about what he would answer when he was here. That is the audience, right? Your audience is all the time thinking about other things, right? So this is one thing you have to understand, you have to realize, right? So that's why a lot of times you check with people. You look people in the eye, you talk with them, you bring them back, right? Because they're going to be, their mind's going to be wandering around, right? And so if you prepare a talk, that's like many things that you have to do, like, I have like 100 things I'm going to talk about, and if the person wanders a little bit, he looks back at you, he lost that little piece, he can't follow anymore. So he has nothing else to do but wonder. And that's when you see people start opening up their laptops and looking at the cell phones, and you can actually see the audience. Now, if you're paying attention, if you're an outsider looking at it, you can see the audience losing attention, and so you can do this. You bring them back, right? Okay, so you tried once with your analogy you were thinking about, right? So now we're gonna do the same thing we did in Rafael. We're gonna restrain the subject here, right? So you're gonna focus on the exercise here. So 5 things I've learned. So you say, let's start like, so you can, Heather, it's a very powerful woman in the Java world, right? She's the head of the JCP, the Java Community Process, so she's very powerful, right? It is.
Perceived.
Yeah. So she's an example of what she's talking about. She's an example of a powerful woman, right? So you can start saying, oh, powerful woman like you taught me a lot of things on the n+1 problem. And then you complete the phrase. You start with what I just said and go and just keep going. Let your brain work.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Heather, so Heather, like you yourself are a pretty powerful woman in the Java community, or you are.
My
silence tells you that I don't know.
The n+1 problem is a very powerful problem too.
Well,
that's.
You have a suggestion?
Yolanda wants to jump in. Come on.
Yes. Right.
I'll help you.
She's going to be in your ear. Well, you could, for example, so a series is, so the n+ problem seems to be like a series, right? So it's always a series of steps. So you can say, well, Heather, you're extremely powerful, right? So I'm sure you didn't start right, where you are. So how did you, I'm sure you had to work very hard, you had to make the connections, network in the community, and all of that. That's how it worked.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That was my question.
Yeah, I would say though that like the way I see that,
Yeah.
like it's about like the step that you took like, to get where you are, and the status that you have. Like you still took those steps, not all at once. Like it was gradual.
Yeah.
Step 1. So like, but for like the n+1 query, like it's actually to be able to do like all that all at once, so that you get to the status you have like much quicker.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. So
thought I would say that.
So you know, he was a little stumped because, you know, for being powerful, she had to take several steps, and the thing he's want to talk about is the opposite of that. That's okay. You know, using the opposite of an analogy. Oh, you know the oracle from the Matrix. I'm nothing like the oracle in the Matrix.
Right.
You know, that is a good, you know, the opposite of the analogy is also good. So no, oh, do you know the steps you had to take to become powerful? So the N plus 1 problem is nothing like this.
It's completely different. This instead.
Yeah, it's this. That's a good thing, right? So it's a conversation starter, anything like this, okay?
Yeah.
So the other important thing is, you see that he's very uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
You see that? This is good. It's good. You have to be uncomfortable. The idea for you to come on stage, remember, presentation is a soft skill. A hard skill, you're not uncomfortable because you repeated that many, many times, and it's going to be the same thing every time. So you're not uncomfortable typing your keyboard. You know, it's the same thing. But yes, you are every soft skill, you're uncomfortable because you're pushing yourself. It's different. You don't know what's going to happen. You have to understand what's going on and act depending on this different situation. Right? So that's why we practice presentations. We practice presentations not to not be uncomfortable on here. We practice presentation so we don't have to be thinking about the slides. We don't have to be thinking about our message because we know that. We have to be thinking about the audience. Right? You know the N plus 1 problem. You don't know the audience. So when you come in, you know your presentation, but you have to be, you know, working with the audience. What went wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe the audio is not okay on the live stream, so let's figure out.
So it's probably not from here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So let's put that one.
This one. So okay,
Yes,
you can go and then let's try out.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay. So Heather, you're gonna be next. You can see here. Yes, you've done your part. Thank you. So you're gonna be next, but let's just make sure that we have the audio working there, because we changed the microphone the last minute, and you see that was not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay here.
2004.
Okay. All right. And all right. So Heather, you're gonna just test the audio here for a minute, but so Heather, what is your presentation or CodeOne?
I'm doing a BOF on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, 2 BOFs.
You're doing 2 BOFs.
Yours too.
The BOF is a bird of a feather.
Birds of a feather.
It's a
Walk
bird of
together.
feather. Yes. It's an informal conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I've started. Yeah.
Here we are.
So and
Started.
so what's going to be about?
First one will be meet the executive committee.
Okay, so you're going to talk about the executive committee of the JCP, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yes.
Can't see
So
me.
who is the volunteer?
Who's my
It's
volunteer?
Rodrigo. You're the volunteer.
Diego's the volunteer.
You're the last one here.
You haven't volunteered yet.
Yes. So you're here. You know the exercise. I'll take a look there. So
Okay.
Rodrigo, what
Something
is
you like, right?
something that you like?
Okay.
Okay, not Simpsons, not
Not basketball, not football, not The Simpsons, and not the Game of Thrones.
Well, has something to say?
The Star Trek. I don't know much about the Star Trek, so
The soft track. I missed that one. I
That's
just watched a
it.
minute.
I
Oh,
should see
Star Trek.
some movies. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
You know Breaking Bad?
I've heard of it, yeah.
No, you've seen it?
You see the
I can do this. Break it down. So I know you like Breaking Bad.
yeah.
The thing about Breaking Bad is that sometimes you don't know everything about people. There's stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't know anything about. And you, as a Java developer, may not realize that Java technology is overseen by the JCP and the executive committee that votes on all this technology specifications in the Java X namespace. So this BOF session is a great opportunity for you to come and educate and learn what's going on behind the scenes with the technology that you love so much.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
That's perfect. I thought you were gonna go on the side on the lines of, you know, oh, you don't know about people. That's why the JCP is so transparent and things like this, so you know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's good. Yes, excellent. You
Okay.
see, every time you present, you put yourself in the shoes of the audience, your message gets more interesting for people, right? And again, you have to remember this. We're doing here with Breaking Bad, with Star Wars, with those things like this, but you're coming, for example, you're coming to Paul's San Diego user group. You know that everyone over there is interested in, it's interested in San Diego because they are in San Diego, right? If you're coming to Dublin, you're going to go speak in the Dublin Java user group. You know everyone's interested about Dublin because they all live there. So if you can, any connection you can do, it's going to be a great way for you to connect with the audience. So if you can connect your talk, you can connect your message to the audience, you get everyone more interested. Make sense?
Yes.
Thanks a lot. You want to do the exercise you too? Yes? Okay.
You need a volunteer.
Thanks, Heather.
All right.
So you need a new volunteer. Do you want to come here, Karina?
I'm getting a little bit worried because the time is passing and everyone is getting harder. So
Yes. All right. So I'm going to do an easy one.
Thanks.
So I'll be the audience. There's one that I love to do. I think that's an exercise that everyone should do, right? Because I think it's an exercise that actually this is an exercise we're doing here. I call it the Master Chef exercise, right? Because I think this is an easy one that you should do. So I'm interested in Master Chef. I watched Master Chef yesterday. I loved it. I loved the program, and so what's your talk about, buddy?
Yeah, my talk with you so about the careers and the one thing that you can do that will move you for the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about sharing. So
right. So okay. So I'm interested in Master Chef.
okay. So I'm like Sebastian. I was thinking about something automation and things like this, not paying attention to the
right.
the whole thing. So. Sharing and Master Chef, okay. You know that when you are cooking, you have many things that you can do to improve the quality of your food. So if you try to do everything without knowing exactly for what is the ingredient is proper for the type of food that you are doing, you do a complete mess and you just get a very bad food. So. If you search for other people that is sharing the best recipes, so you will get the best right on an article or a video. So that is why sharing is a very good thing that you can help everyone and also learn from it. So and you will reach your best food, your best recipes. Yeah.
Okay, is that fair? All right.
So you could have used recipes. You use recipes in programming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then it's totally focused.
Right? Yeah.
Let's try it.
And he started with, if you use bad ingredients, you don't know how to use the ingredients, it's not going to work for the food. And the thing I was thinking was, that's a great thing for career, right? If you want to share, or if you want to do open source, you want to do any of those things, and you don't know how to use those, on the right way, your career is not going to move either. So I think that was the analogy.
Or maybe if you want to share only on Oracle CodeOne, you would share only once a year. So
That's
it's
true
not
too.
a
Yes,
move.
you can't just cook once a year. You're not going to be a great cooker, right? So yes, all of these. You see, all of these are great analogies for us to do. All right, good.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, man. All right, so there's a few things that I noticed here, but I want to go with you guys. So, all of you are speakers here. Some of you have been speakers at Java 1 for many years. Some of you are just kind of doing the first presentation this year, right? Actually, both of you are doing the first presentation this year. That's good. So welcome to the group. And whoever's watching us online, I think there's a few people watching us online on YouTube, right? So I'm going to ask a very important question now. So what is your big, for next week or for whatever event you're going to do next, what is your biggest challenge you're facing right now in terms of, or biggest frustration that you have with your talk? What is the biggest problem that is in your mind for your talk? Heather. Or biggest problem that you think of you have to overcome?
I think there are several boxes going on at the same time, so
Whoa.
you have to differentiate yourself to make sure you have audience.
Right. Okay. All right. Competition, right? Is good. All right. And let's see if there's anything we can do during the event to improve that, right? Heather. Yolande. Sorry. Yes, Heather too.
I want to present about women in tech.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really like how to frame the discussion and really make changes, right? So you're trying to educate people, but you educate. How do you really make an impact so something changes?
Okay, that's very good. Okay, so can I change a little bit? So how we can make people take action?
Yes.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. How to make people take action? That's a great question. Barry.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's a challenge, but one of my kind of fears, if you like, is
That's good.
doing a presentation and people are kind of not understanding what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
They're not following me.
They're not following you
Yeah.
because of language issues or because of technical issues? Why wouldn't they be following you? Just
Could be technical issues.
okay. All right.
So it's really the topic is so new to them, they don't relate to it.
Okay, lose people along the way, right? Or not following, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's actually a bit similar for me. I would add, well, you actually saw it live, like to stumble in like those moments where those moments of silence. If I lose my train of thought, for example, like how to keep the flow.
Okay, keep the flow. Okay. All right. Okay. How about you, Paul?
Engage and re-engage the audience.
Engage and re-engage. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Manage time.
Manage time.
Yeah.
All right. Manage time. Karina, qual é o seu principal desafio para quando você vai apresentar alguma coisa? Okay, make. Okay, get people to consider the subject important. Okay? Right. Cool. Rodrigo.
Considering that there is the first time, manage time, there is some issues that I also get in mind.
Okay. Language problems. All right, language problems. So my question is, did anyone understand what Rodrigo just said?
Yes, language problems.
Right, no? So is that a problem? No, all right, okay.
Not at all.
All right, okay, cool.
You're presenting
Yeah,
your
maybe my presentation about MasterChef was understandable. I was a bit sweaty. So.
Yes, all right. Okay, so let's go. Any other thing that you guys would love to hear about? Just
Maybe to improvise or
memorize or improvise.
reactive,
Memorize
interact.
or improvise. Okay. All right. Good. Anything else?
That's related to that. Well, maybe you should plan like right from the beginning, but like the time where the asking question part, like waiting at the end or throughout the presentation, like constantly tracking with the people,
Okay.
asking questions, feedback, or because that's related to managing time.
Yeah.
Okay. Right at the end. All right.
Active.
Okay.
So how to, like, you, in an audience, you always have like beginners and people who are more senior. How do you plan in advance your presentation so you have maybe content that you can say, well, I'll present like different scenarios.
Okay, yeah.
For,
Content for diverse audience. Okay. Agree?
yep.
Diverse skills audience. Okay. Or skills or levels, right? Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
Should we write everything we're gonna talk, or it's just? I think it's.
Oh,
like-
memorize or write. Okay, right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Is that good enough? First you get started.
I have one more.
One more. Yeah. problem?
So should you present by yourself? Should you present with somebody else?
That's
Should
great.
you
Yes. Co-presenting. Co-presenting. Right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So how much like code? I mean, for you guys who do more like technical talks, I mean, how much the percentage of time that you spend on code versus maybe just like high level stuff, or what is there like a way to? Is there like a recipe? Recipes to to make it work better?
Right. Okay. Code versus slides. Can like this.
Like general, yes.
Yeah. Code versus slides is good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. More? No, that's good. All right. So let me start with this here. Okay. First thing I have to say, right? That we have right now more than 20 hours of interviews with the top speakers of the Java world, right? And a lot of those questions were answered by different people with different ideas. And so I'm gonna give some ideas on all of those things. But remember that different speakers do different things. Remember that speaking is a soft skill, so it varies from time to time. So for example, let's just get the last one, right? Code versus slides. It varies from the audience, right? It varies from the venue. It varies. So you have to be able to see the room and see, are those people going to be ready to lots of code? They're going to be ready for slides. They're going to be ready for talking to me. You're going to have to gauge this from the audience, from what you're doing, from the venue you're presenting. So, for example, if you're coming to I don't know, for a presentation for the Java champions yesterday, right? That could be one style of presentation. A presentation for the same topic presented for students at university could be a different style of presentation. The same topic presented at Java 1 could be a different style of presentation. So it depends on the audience a lot of times, right? So a lot of those questions here are going to be depend, right? So kind of, let's see what is it we can do here in different one of
So I have a harder question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So for an event, for a technical audience like CodeOne, let's say Java,
Right.
For the Java tracks. So is there like an amount of time that you would say like 70% should be available? So that they're really interested in that. Or do you have things that you've experienced?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just gonna put percentage here just so we can get some percent. I'm not answering this question yet. I'm gonna say that a lot of those questions here we're gonna vary in different ways, right? So let's talk about a few things here. First, let me start with how to make people take action, because I think this is one of the most important things that you can ever do in your presentation, right? The thing is, if you come to a presentation and you present an amazing message with the right percent of code in slides, using story, you differentiate yourself, you get the question in the right place, you have everything done right. But the audience leaves without taking action, or the audience doesn't take action in what you presented, then your talk was a waste of time for you and for them, because they didn't take action. Right? So getting people to take action is the most important thing you can do in your presentation. Right? So it doesn't matter what it is that you teach, you have to inspire them to take some kind of action. Right? So there's lots of different ways that you can do this, right? You can get people, so from simple one. There's a phone flashing desperately over the back. There's ones that people use a lot. So for example, follow me on Twitter, right? It's a simple action that people can take. If they follow you on Twitter, what happens? They create a relationship with you, and so you can keep promoting them to move in the direction that you want them to do. So you can have simple action. A lot of people want very complex actions, like, you can download my code and experiment yourself, for example. That's like a big action. I'm gonna download your software, I'm gonna compile, I'm gonna experiment, I'm gonna install it, and then I'm gonna experiment. That's like a huge step for people to take action, right? But it doesn't matter what it is. You have to help people take action. So how do you help people take action? First of all, you have to name and make clear what is the next step. A lot of speakers just come in and they be generic. I did this great presentation, and all the source code is available. So that's a very generic, you want these? No, I think I'm fine. Do you think I need to write? No? Oh, like to have one more?
More actions?
Oh, like more. Oh, do you want me to write there so you have like a, yeah, I can do this, yes. Okay, cool. Yes. All right, so Yolanda is causing havoc over there. Yes. How many people do you need to move a board?
2.
No, 3, because he has to, he has to open the right. Okay, let me kind of move this a little bit like this. Is that good? Yeah. All right. So very, very important. We call this call to action, CTA. Right? We call this a call to action, CTA. It's very important that you have a very clear. We say this, a clear, unique call to action. It has to be obvious. You have to explain it. You have to say it, right? And it has to be unique. You can't say, thank you for watching my talk. Follow me on Twitter. Download my code on GitHub. Read my blog. Go to my next presentation tomorrow. It's like too many things. One important thing that you have to understand is, for this, how to make people take action, right? How to make change. There's one important thing. People that are confused take no action. Every time your audience is confused, they take no action. Right? So confusion, no action. Okay? So what you have to do is you have to make it clear. People have to be very, very clear what is the next thing they have to do. And so, if they are very clear next thing that you have to do, you can, that's easy because they can go and do it. Right? So that's the first thing. It has to be clear. Clear and unique. People are not confused anymore. If people are not confused, they know what to do. So for example, you just gone through the challenges, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to see all the response for the challenges? We have a GitHub project with all the response. Right? So for example, that's a clear, unique next step. You go to my GitHub and you do this. Right? Now, clear and unique is great. If you do this, that's amazing, right? So if you want to inspire people, you said that you want to talk about women in technology, for example, you want to inspire people to take action. If you have a clear step that they can do next, it's great. And that could be, okay, so, let's all could be very complex, but it's a clear, at least, right? No, let's all go together and, we're going to mentor someone next week. Right, so that could be a clear, unique call to action. Let's all of us here next week. We're gonna find either a young woman or someone already professional, something. We're gonna mentor them. So that could be a clear call to action, right? So that's one thing. That's good. Clear, unique. Right. So don't say let's do this next week and let's do other things. No, just one thing. Now the second thing, right, it has to be simple or is small. The smaller the step, the simplest the step people can take, the better. Right? Remember that for people to take action, it's a stair. Right? For people to take action, they have to start climbing a stair. So if the steps are very big, they're not going to climb. So the very first step has to be the smallest possible. My hint is, if it is so small that people can do while they are watching your talk, yes, the speakers, yes, come on, come here. So since you're the only one to show up late, sorry about this, but that's okay. No, you come here, say who you are,
okay,
and what you're looking for. What's the biggest challenge that you have with your presentation?
Okay, I know many of you, but my name is Victor.
Here you have
okay.
to. Yes,
Here?
Yes, you're right here. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Victor. I came from Guatemala. I've been recently named Java champion, and I think that my biggest issue is the language actually, because it's one thing to present and to speak to people face to face, and it is another way different thing to present in English, because you don't have the context to do jokes and to, the strategies that most of us use in our native language. So I came for that to get some tips.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. So yes, we have languages already here, right? And Victor has, I had to thank him in person, right? Because Victor wrote a very nice blog about my book, right? Thanks a lot. So, and it was good that all his complaints and the bad things about the book. Oh, it's not in Spanish yet. That's good.
Very good.
Okay. So, so coming back here, you have to, if the step that you're helping people take, it's very, very small. So small that they can actually take that step while they're there watching you, then they'll take it. And if they take the first step, they start the path. Right? So if you're able to help them take a clear, unique, simple step that they can do right now, that's great. What that could be, for example, one that everyone uses is follow me on Twitter. Right? Follow me on Twitter is a simple step. People can actually do right there. You can say, hey, follow me on Twitter right now. The problem with following me on Twitter, it's not clear. Why it's not clear? Why I'm going to follow you on Twitter? I don't know. There's no reason for me to follow you on Twitter, right? So if you say, follow me on Twitter because next week I'm going to send a tweet inviting you to mentor people. So now they have a reason to follow you on Twitter, and they have a reason to wait for your tweet next week. So you create a hook in their brains, waiting for your message next week to start the work of mentoring people. Right? So you do something small that they can do right now. They can create a connection with you, and then that you can use that to make the next steps for next month, or you know. So good ones, good things you can do for this is follow me on Twitter because that thing's gonna happen. That's one good one. Follow me. Subscribe to my video, my channel on YouTube. Because next week we're going to do a special broadcast about this subject, right? That's a good one too. Better ones. Better ones is one that create an immediate relationship with you. Come to this Google form. Register for it because next week at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, we're going to do a webinar about this, right? And so now you're putting yourself on a schedule. Right? Schedule on your calendar right now a conversation with me. Right? We've done that, right? You know, schedule after this. Was it good to have a conversation with me later? Did it help your career? Yes. You know, so that's so the reason is once you book something on your calendar, you have, you know, you're putting yourself in a spot to actually come talk to the person next week. Right? So that is also a great one to actually get people to follow up and take action. You know, so you have to give them a clear, unique, simple call to action that they can apply right now. So if you have, for example, you work a lot of marketing. So if you have a landing page, oh, you guys are interested in my subject right now? How about you register on my landing page, and to everyone that registers, I'm going to send you my presentation with all the speaker notes. So you're going to have something, right? So you create a relationship with them. And so you create a relationship, and once the relationship is created, now you can start helping them because you can send them more information. You can talk to them about more things. You can, download my book. So Rafael has a good ebook called, No Bugs, No Stress. So download my ebook, right? You download my ebook and you create a relationship with me. And so once you have a relationship with me, I can help you keep going. Make sense? So the one thing I like to talk about taking action, taking change. Think about, someone that's like lots of exercise, all muscle, If you see that person, you know that they didn't become like this overnight, right? Or an athlete that runs a marathon. Just by watching the guy running the marathon, you know, oh, this guy didn't start running yesterday. You know that, right? So you know that it takes time and effort to do this. So making people take action is about helping them do the first step. That's all you can do, right? You tell them, look, there's a mountain to climb. There's a big stairs to climb. But for you to get there, the first step is this. So take the first step now with me. And next week, I'm going to take the next step with you. And that's how you make people take action. Make sense? Cool. So this here, for everything else we do, that's why we start with this. Because everything else we do, this is the most important thing you can do. So let's say you come to a presentation and you forgot to use slides, you mess up your demo, you don't speak English well, and half of the people don't understand you. But in the end of the presentation, like, guys, everything went wrong. It was terrible. You know, I did everything wrong. My presentation was bad. Everything was terrible. So I promise you, the next week, I'm going to repeat the presentation. I'm going to do it right. And if you say that, and everyone register for your next week thing, your presentation was a huge success.
Yeah.
It was a huge success because you got everyone to take the next step. Right? So this is the most important thing. You have to think about what is the next step I want people to take. Don't walk on a stage without knowing what is the next step you want people to take. Make sense? Okay? All right. So let's talk about other things here then. I'm going to talk about differentiate yourself, but Heather's not here, so I'm going to wait her to come back. So let me talk about. Okay, so something related. So get people to consider this subject important. Right? The best way to have people taking action is to inspire people to take action. It's not about forcing people to do something, but you know, once you get them to understand that that thing is important, once you get to understand that thing that they're going to do is going to be, that's why we want a clear call to action. It has to be clear. They have to see the importance of that. They have to see, oh, if I follow your land on Twitter, I'm going to be invited to this special, Empower Women initiative that she's going to launch next week. So I see that this is taking this little step of following her. It's important for me to do right now. You know, you already inspire them during your presentation on the big thing. You know, empowering women is important. That's what your whole presentation is about, is to inspire people. So now, if you want to do this, you see all this is important. If you want to do this, come with me. Follow me on Twitter because you're going to be invited for something special. So that's the important thing, right? You know, you inspire people to take that one action. Okay? And the best actions are the ones that they're going to connect with you. Those are the best actions. You know, download my presentation. It's okay, but that's not a connection with you. Put your email because I'm going to send you my presentation to you. That's great because it's a connection with you. You know what people do on LinkedIn? That's a cool one. You go on LinkedIn, and then you record a video on LinkedIn, or text, whatever, and you say, if you say yes on the comments, I'm going to send you my presentation, for example. So people just say yes in the comment. I want it. Send it to me. Whatever. They send it. Now on LinkedIn, everyone that comments on the comments, you can go and connect with them. Right? Now they just comment on something for you on LinkedIn, and you click connect. They're going to receive a pop-up saying, oh, Bruno wants to connect with me. That's great. So now you have a connection with them. So anything you can do to create a connection, right? That is because remember, you know, for you to be muscles, full of muscles, it's a path. So the best thing you can do with your audience is, hello, take the first step with me. Okay. So you take the first step with me. Good. So now let's take the next step together. Let's take the next step together. Let's take, you know, that is the best thing you can do, is to kind of get the person by the hand and walk and have them walk with you. Right? Of course, you know, you're going to have 100 people in your talk. And then, you know, let's say 60 of them are going to actually follow you. And then, you know, 40 of those are actually going to do the next step. And then 30 of those are going to do the next one. And then 20, you know, of course, it's going to take time for people to actually, not everyone is going to walk with you all the time. But if they have a connection with you, they will. Right? If they follow you on Twitter, eventually they're going to see you another presentation. Eventually they're going to see another thing you posted. Eventually they're going to download your book. You know, that connection is important. Okay? All right. So, with this, you know, we want to inspire people. First, to inspire people, we have to engage with the audience all the time. Right? And to engage with the audience, I think, you know, there's a few things you can do. The most important of it is eye contact. let me tell you two stories of highly effective people on engagement. First story, is from a guy that all of you know about. There's the singer from Iron Maiden. You know Iron Maiden, the band, right? What's his name? Bruce Dickinson. So Bruce Dickinson came twice. So I can say this. I'm an Iron Maiden fan, right? But and I've opened twice for Iron Maiden in Brazil. How about this, right? Yes, because Bruce Dickinson came twice to campus party, and I was the guy on stage inviting people for his presentation, and so I opened twice for Iron Maiden. So Bruce, when he talks about, so his presentation is all about entrepreneurship, right? And he talks about engaging with the audience, and he says that the most important thing you can have with your audience is eye contact. I don't have that experience, but he has. He says that, you're in a huge show, right? Hundreds of thousands of people in front of you. And he says you look across the stadium to that guy in the back, and he looks back at you. Because we're good in eye contact. This is the most, that's the thing that we do since we're very little kids. We do eye contact. A funny story, a dog looks you in the eye. A monkey doesn't. The monkey is smarter than the dog, but the dog learned with us how to look us in the eye. The monkey doesn't look at you in the eye. Right? So this is a very important thing. Looking in the eye is important. So the second story, I interviewed a magician I was on a cruise one day, and the magician was so good in engaging the audience that I went to him and said, would you do an interview with me? And so I interviewed him to how he engaged the audience, right? And so he said that while he's doing his magic show, he imagines that he has a thread connecting his eye with everyone in the audience. So he imagines that if he doesn't look to the person, these threads start to come down, start to fall, right? So he has to come back and look to the person again to kind of pull the string again. So he says that on his show, he spends all the time pulling the strings from each one of the audience. Think about it. For you to be able to do this, that's a soft skill. It varies from audience to audience, right? But for him to be able to spend the time pulling strings in the audience, his whole magic show has to be automatic. He can't be thinking about the magic show. That's why doing the magic is a hard skill. The magic is perfect, it's flawless. He repeats hundreds of times, so he does it without thinking. So he can do the magic without thinking while he connects with the audience looking in the eyes. That's why we do our presentation many times, because the content has to be good. The content has to be internalized. The content has to be memorized so we can spend time interacting with people. Right? So how do you engage your audience? Look them in the eye. Bring the attention to you. If people look at the cell phone, you say, Karina, por que está olhando o celular? You see? I know she's not following me because she doesn't understand English well enough to follow me. That's okay. But you can see that's how you re-engage with people, right? You start seeing people getting their phones, and you do something to get them stopping using the phones. Hey guys, what's so interesting on the phone? Oh no, nothing. Listen. Yes, call them out. Call them out. I do this, see the call to action? I say, you should register here for Code for Life. That's what I say. I say, you come for code4.life, and I put a QR code on the screen, and say, if you go there, you're gonna receive an email from me, and suddenly you're gonna have be in contact. And then I stop because I see no one is doing it, and I say, come on guys, go right now on your phone. And then some people say, oh, I'm just writing down. No, if you write it down, you're gonna forget when you get home. Do it right now. It just takes a second. And so lots of people take their phones and they do it. And so more people took the first step. If more people took the first step, more people are going to be able to do the second step. So call them out. You know the thing that the speakers do? Oh, everyone stands up, right? I don't like too much to get people to stand up because it's so overused, right? But when you walk in on stage, if you get people to do anything, if they laugh, if they look at you, if they stand up, if you get them to do anything, you immediately grab the attention of the audience, right? So when you get people to stand up, yes, we're here, right? So when you get people to stand up, you're grabbing their attention immediately, right? Now, the one good thing about having people to stand up, you know what it is? They have to put their laptop away. You can't stand up with a laptop in your lap. So when you say everyone stand up, they have to put their laptop in the backpack, so they stand up. So if there is a good reason for them to stand up, if there's not a good reason, then they're going to be mad at you because you're making them fools. But if you have a good reason for them to stand up, they'll put their laptops away, and now they're paying attention at you. They're going to put their phones away because they're not going to stand up with the phone in their hand. They're going to put their phones in the pocket, right? And so now they're paying attention at you. Okay? So don't just say, oh, let's all everyone stand up, now sit down. There's one guy that does a thing that I think is very annoying. You know, he says, oh, I don't remember exactly the order, but he says, oh, we stand up and then turn around or something like this. And then he says, oh, I just made all of you, do this and go around the world, a thing like this, And then so my presentation is complete, right? Because I got you to do these three things. It's like, so everyone seems like, oh, you just made me a fool. And so don't do anything like that. But, get people. Actually, you know what? One thing that you guys do that's kind of, it's at the same time weird, but I think it works, both of you. Yes. You put code on the slides and you let people look at it and you stay quiet. It's an anti-pattern, right? You say, you should not leave long periods of silence in your presentation. But the way you guys do it, you force people to look at the code. Because the whole room is in silence. So everyone's kind of, you're looking at everyone. So everyone's looking at the code because they can't look at the phone, right? So you're kind of forcing people to look at the code. I'm not sure how effective it is for people to actually solve the problem. You guys tell me if it is effective or not, but that is a good thing. Anything you do to actually get people to pay attention at you, it's important for you to do. Make sense?
Yeah, so I talked to Raphael about that, and I feel uncomfortable whenever we give them, my goal is 60 seconds, whatever, by that stage, what am I doing here?
Right.
Anyway, so that's a bit of an internal struggle with me. Do we do something to engage them a bit more? Which we did at Equifax, people were asking questions, we just leave them to focus, and then, so then it's not a long time, but it's a long time silent.
Right. It's okay. The uncomfortable of the silence is good. You know why? You see how uncomfortable it is? The silence is uncomfortable. What's good? Using silence in the right way, it's good. When you use silence and people paying attention, it's good. When you type in code and you mess up something, you don't know how to solve it, and you stop talking, and you're just there, you're not paying attention to the audience, everyone just start talking with themselves, that's not good silence. But what you do, you know, you make sure everyone's in silence. Even if the guy's looking at the phone, there's whole silence in the room. It's like, what happened? Oh, everyone's looking there, right? So you made the whole room uncomfortable. That's good. It's good, right? You know, I have never done it. Spend 1 minute letting people look at the codes. I myself have not done it, so I don't know how effective it is. I think you guys done it, and so you know how effective it is or not, right? And you know, the feedback you get, but the uncomfortable, it's good. You're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable, everyone's uncomfortable, that's a good thing. Okay? Right, so no, so that's so engage the audience. So when you first connect with the audience and engage the audience here, right? First thing you do when you walk in the stage, grab the power of the room. It's a power grab in that moment. Seriously. You know, you have the microphone, people are there to watch you, right? And so you have to grab the attention to the room to you. Do anything. Say hello, good morning, you know, hey, who here is a Java developer? Right? Ask questions to people and say yes. Right? So yeah, who here is a Java developer? Lots of people are going to say, oh, so there's people that are not Java developers. So you know, the 5 of you guys that didn't raise your hand, why are you? So, oh, I'm a JavaScript developer. So, you know, so you got the attention of the room. You got them to do something with you. So that's the first thing you do. Lots of people have different ways, right? So you tell a joke, for example. Right? You do something funny. You show something fun on screen. Right? You say silence. That's another thing. Some people do this, right? Some speakers, they walk in and they just stand there. And so people start noticing that the speaker's there, so they start shutting up. And so some people start talking, and then suddenly they notice that the whole room is silence. So everyone looks. So that's like a 1 minute of total silence in the room that's uncomfortable. Everyone looks at you. That's another thing. You're taking control of the room. Okay? So this is important. Right? You have your own style, so you do whatever you feel like, right? You know, but this is important. So that's why the first thing you should say in your presentation is not about you. Never, ever, ever, ever you start the presentation by presenting who you are. Don't do this. Don't do this. Why? Because, Paul, no one cares about you. Right?
The funny thing is that the email that we got from the organizer, from CodeOne, it says in the instruction, make sure that you start by presenting yourself.
Yeah, don't do this. Right. Don't do this. So something fell off from yes. Okay. So don't do this, right? So why don't do this? Because the thing is, you're supposed to engage the audience. No one cares about you. So you come in the stage and say, oh, my name is Bruno, and I do this, and I do that, and blah, 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 and me. No one cares. So while you're doing this, people are doing what? They're watching their phone, you know, they're shuffling their things, they're packing their stuff. They're doing something else. Because that's the moment that they don't need to pay attention. So you already lost the audience. So now you have to regain the audience. So don't do this. So what do? You go directly to what they care about. So what you're here for? Oh, you're here to solve your JavaScript problem? So we're going to solve your problem immediately. So what is your biggest problem? So you go in, like we did this. We did this, right? What's your biggest problem? What's your biggest problem? What's your biggest problem? So now you're interested in it because your problem is here on the board. You want to pay attention to this because now you're going to get there. So once you have everyone's attention, you can say, you know, the reason why I can talk to you about these things is because my name is Paul, and I'm the leader of the San Diego JavaScript group, and for the last 20 years, I run one of the most important JavaScript groups in the world. I've gone through all these problems. So let's go really quick, right? You give enough information about you that shows you the credibility, shows that you've gone through that problem, show that you are one of them, and then you can go ahead and present. But, you know, first you get the audience, and then you briefly, but I would love to talk about that I'm a Star Trek fan. That's great. Say it in some other moment. You know, Oh, that's amazing that you asking this question. You know that why I think this question is amazing? Because that's exactly what Captain Kirk felt in the episode number 122. As you know, as you just noticed, I'm a Star Trek aficionado. There's a name for it, right? There's a Trekkie, right? I'm a Trekkie, right? So I know everything about Star Trek. And let me show you my picture here of my Star Trek collection. You know, you connect with the audience like this. You know, you mention about yourself, you mention about your project, you mention about your solutions, you mention about how, you know, oh, you're asking about the user group. I understand exactly your question because, you know, I know your user group is just starting, and my user group has like 40,000 people. So you see, you're giving information about you, but connected with the question that people are asking. You don't have to stand, oh, you know, my name is Paul, and I have 100,000 user group, and I did this, I did that, because the people don't care about it. Make sense? So to be honest, and actually, that's a good example, right? I know all of you guys know me, but I haven't mentioned my name so far. So people watching online, right? So I'm Bruno Souza, and I'm known as the Brazilian Java Man. And for the last 20 years, what I do is help you to improve your career by sharing what you know. That's the big thing that I do. And we are here like 2 hours into it, and I'm introducing myself right now, because now people want to pay attention. They want to see who I am. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I should have given a break, right, at some point. Okay. So let's make a break right now. All right. Okay. Cool. Thanks. Thanks for someone to remind me. Thanks a lot. Yes.
Well,
thank you. Thank you. All right. So for you watching online, we're gonna do a 15 minutes break, and we're gonna be right back. And so when you got back, we're gonna have 1 more hour, and we're gonna have lunch. Is that cool? All right. so the picture have been taken right now. So here's how we're going to do it. We will, everyone paying attention, everyone taking pictures. All right, so, okay. So here's the thing. The photographer is in the big room, so you go around here on the big room right here. There's a big room. There's photographers there. So you're gonna go one by one. So Barry's there right now. When Barry comes in, the next one stands up. Go there, take your pictures, and then we're gonna do like this. Okay? All right? And then we're gonna have like professional pictures taken, and then how about this? Cool. Oh, because you're not here when I said that. You had just left. So we have a photographer taking professional pictures for your profiles. Isn't it cool?
Sure.
That's the speakers secrets initiative, man. You know the whole idea. Yeah. So take your jacket off or put your jacket on or whatever you want to do. But let's go. You have to do this pose, right? And this pose. Yes. Have to do this pose, yes. Oh, that one, no. I mean, you can do any other pose you want, but at least this pose here, right? It's like this, like a power pose, yes. And you have to do this pose here too, right? So it's like yes, right? Okay, good. So let's keep going here. All right, are you? Sound here, Everyone's good, okay?
Yeah, looks good.
All right. So let me talk about first more things here, right? So, I think we talked a little bit about losing people not following, right? But keeping the flow and losing people in terms of the organization of your talk. The thing that you have to understand is there's a thing that we say is you tell people what you're going to talk about, you talk about it, and then you tell people what you're talking about. Right, so you're going to do this several times in your presentation, right? You're going to say, oh, okay, so now let's take a look at, lambdas and why lambdas are important. So they didn't talk about how lambdas are important. So we just saw the importance of lambdas, right? So now let's see the next other feature of Java, right? So that's how you keep the flow, right? So that's how you keep people, so you connect things one with the next. Right? Be very, so when you're presenting, you have to understand that there are moments in your presentation that people will space out. Right? They want to go in the restroom. They get an SMS message. They got something, and they're gonna look out, and they're gonna look back at you. This is when you lose them. You don't lose them because they are, because your technology, well, maybe you lose them because you gave a too big of a jump, and they couldn't follow your jump, right? You're talking about something, then you did something else, and then they couldn't see that jump. But that's rare. It's more frequent is that people look away for a minute. Someone made a comment this side, they listen, and then when they come back, they lost it. So they can't catch up again. So next one, you want to go? So they can't catch up again, right? So what happens is, once that happens, then they lost, and they can't follow the presentation anymore, right? So it's important that you're looking at the people's face to know what exactly is this guy talking about. He's just walking in the room. He doesn't know what I'm talking about, right? So if you don't mention back in a way that he can catch up, there's nothing he can do, and he's going to be lost for the rest of the presentation. So you have to give some moments to say, are you guys following it? You see, oh, you're just walking in. So we're talking here about how we keep the flow, right? Yes, that happens all the time, right? No, that's okay. That's okay. Right? So that happens. People leave and come back, and so you have to give points in your presentation where people can actually come back and keep following you. So if they lost it, and they get lost for several minutes, and then you say, okay, so we just saw how lambda expression work, right? So so it's like a stop point, right? So you just saw how lambda expression work, and And lambdas are fundamental for streams. But if if you understand how lambdas work, it's going to be easier for you to understand streams. So now you start out the topic, and then you're bringing people in for a chance for them to follow again. Make sense? All right. So that's the problem with a presentation, that you go too fast. You have too much. That's the thing we were discussing before, right? You have too many topics, and then you go through those topics. You go too deep or something like this. That if people lose, they can't catch up. And so what's going to happen is that, some people are going to lose the first 10 minutes, and some people are going to lose the first 20 minutes, and some people are going to lose the first 30 minutes. So by the middle of your presentation, you have half of the audience not following you anymore. And that's bad. So that's why at some point you say, are you guys following me? Do you understand? People are going to say yes, no. They're going to be looked puzzled. Oh, I see a lot of people puzzled. So let me rephrase what I just said here. Right? And then you catch people again, and then you keep going. Make sense? Right? So that's how you keep flow, and check. You see what I say? You see what I do a lot of times? You say, make sense? Does it make sense? When I say make sense, what do you do when I say make sense?
Make sure it makes sense.
No, you shake your head, right? You say yes. It makes sense, right? So so that is me checking with you. Make sense?
Yeah. I have a comment here.
A comment.
I watched a talk of a kid on Rails about career. He talked about himself and his career. It was very good to me because he changed many times of company like me. What do you think about it? Talk to yourself if the talk is about career.
So, okay. So that is a good thing. So that's a good segue for us to talk about story. Right? A lot of people kind of mix up the idea that talking about story is to talk about me. Right? When you talk about story, you can't have a presentation me. You can't. Right? Presentation that's me. Oh, it's all about me, how great I am, how great I did, or how blah, blah, blah. It's a presentation me. And as we said before, no one cares about you. Who asked that? So, Hermenegildo, no one cares about you, man. Seriously. Right? So if your presentation is all about me, that's not a good presentation. Now, you mentioned a case where someone told their story and used their story to inspire you to take action on your story. So that can work. If you present your story, if you talk about your life achievements, if you talk about things that you did, if you talk about the struggles that you had, right? It's good. If you talk about struggles that you have, so how do you tell a story? I have no idea about Akita's presentation, right? He liked it, so it must have been a good presentation. So Akita must have done this, but I don't know. I didn't watch it. So a good story, it's a story that shows vulnerability. It shows the problems. It shows how you overcome the problems. You show that you are a normal person like everyone else. Right? So when you're speaking, for example, you say, about being nervous. Let me tell you this. Being nervous is normal. Every time I walk into stage, I'm very nervous. Coming here, I was just going to meet friends. I was nervous. I didn't know if anyone was going to show up. I didn't know if we have anything to do. I didn't know if the internet's going to work. Right? So, I was nervous to come here. It's the first time we're doing this here in these events. So, that's going to be good, not good, right? So when you tell these kind of things, everyone's like, oh, so the fact that I'm nervous when I'm walking in, I'm new guy. You talk with Bruno. Bruno gives presentation for 28 years. He's too nervous today, so I'm just starting. I can be nervous. That's liberating, right? Because you see the problem. So we had, for example, Maurice. You should watch Maurice's presentation, right? Maurice's interview. Maurice, he said things that very few people talk about, right? He said, I don't like live coding because I'm slow. So when I'm watching live code, I can't follow. So I don't think live code is effective because it's not effective for me. I can't follow presentation live coding. So I'm not going to present my presentation live coding. How many times do you see a developer saying that I can't follow a live coding demonstration? Right? He's putting himself very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right? He's showing how flawed he is. And when you do this, you connect with people. So he said that on that presentation, the speaker changed jobs many times. And that's similar to his situation. That's how you connect with the audience, right? You talk about things that people have the same experience. So you talk about, you change a job many times, so that's the connection, right? So how you do this, how you do a story. There's two things a story has to have. Two things that really make people connect. One is, here. Two very important things for a story. Right. A story can have lots of things, right? Can have lots of things, but two that are fundamental, or if that doesn't exist, then this story is not going to be complete. Right? One is the pit. And the second one is the breakthrough. Breakthrough. Right? So the pit and the breakthrough. The pit is the dark moment. Do you need to put this?
No, it's okay. I just
all right.
focus on it.
So for a story to be effective, you have to have the pit and you have to have the breakthrough. Right? What is the pit? Right? The pit is the dark moments. Right? The pit is the problem. The pit is that moment where nothing's gonna work. It's the moment where everything is dark, everything is bad, everything is it's like it's a pit, right? You can't get out of it, right? You're gonna die. It's the death moment of the story. Paul that loves Star Trek, right? You can get any movie of Star Trek, you're gonna see that there is a pit in the story, right? The pit is, tell me your episode that you like most. What is the pit?
Pits.
Yeah.
They're doomed.
They're doomed, right? Yeah, they can't escape, right? The monster's gonna get them. The aliens are gonna destroy them. The spaceship's gonna explode. They're doomed. That's the pit.
It's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger, right? Yes. So that's the pit. So the pit's fundamental. Why? Because the pit is when we bring emotions into the story, right? What happens is you are telling your story. You're telling your story, and you're telling the pit's an emotional moment. And we all know the emotions, right? So I can say, for example, last week I was learning Java, and I had some problems with Java, and I couldn't compile it right, and then and then I found out what it was, and then I fixed it, and that's our story, right? Now I can tell the same story and say, man, this whole thing about learning programming, that's terrible. Last week, I spent 3 hours looking at this tiny little piece of code. And I look at, and I couldn't see the mistake. And the compiler kept giving error. And I was looking at the line the compiler's doing, and didn't tell me anything, right? And I kept looking at it. I was getting desperate. I was hating it. I didn't want to do this anymore. My moment was like, I'm going to just kick this computer out, and I'm going to stop this. I'm never going to do programming in my life again. It was terrible. And then at that moment, I saw the missing column. It's the same story, right? But now, when you bring emotion into the pit, you bring people into the pit with you. All of you guys have done moments in your life where you're struggling to fix something. Maybe it's not the same thing I just mentioned, but you haven't struggled with doing this. Even if you never did programming in your life, you had moments in your life that you want to give up on things. So you know the feeling, right? You know it. So you bring people into the pit with you. When they are into the pit with you, what is it that you do? You show them the breakthrough. And then you show, oh man, and I found the mistake, and then the whole thing worked. And then I realized how amazing it is to program, right? You know, once you learn it, you can change the world. So that's the breakthrough. So you bring people with you into the pit, and then you get out of the pit. Once you get out of the pit, what happens? People get out of the pit with you. So they have the breakthrough with you. Right? So the story that he's asking, you know, if you tell the story of your life, and you bring people into the pit, and you bring people out of the pit, you're transforming people's lives. So yes, you can talk about yourself on the story. You can, but if you do it right. You know, if you bring people into the pit and you bring people into breakthrough. Make sense? All right, so that's how you do story, and that's how you do emotions, right? You know, a good presentation causes emotions on people. People get mad, they get upset, they get sad, they get happy, they get excited. You've seen good movies, right? And we're using Star Trek here as an example, right? Because we have a Trekkie here with us. But no, you've seen good movies. You've seen that in a good movie, there's a lot of emotions going on, right? You know, even if you watch a funny movie, there's moments in the funny movie that you're sad. Because the story is like, you know, is the difference between your moments of sadness and moments of happiness, right? That's when you see, you know, if the movie is happy, 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 nothing's happening in the movie because it's like, you know, it's the same thing in your talk. If your talk is happy, 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 people get tired of it. That's why you have to, you know, you slow down. You let people think. You talk about other things. You talk about problems. You talk about struggles. Make sense? Emotions is important. Even if it's a technical talk. All you're doing is talking about, oh, the n+1 problem and code and code and code and code. If you don't say why the n+1 problem is a problem, so that's a pit. What is a pit? Oh man, I was trying to get this information from the database, and you know I needed all the information together, and I was having to go one by one, and you know that wasn't working. I was always getting the wrong information, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. The thing was in production. I had users following their application. I had people complaining. I had bugs that they couldn't replicate, and then I realized that I was hitting the n+1 problem. You know, that's when I learned how to solve that, and once I learned how to apply that, I never had this problem again. So that's pit breakthrough, pit breakthrough. Make sense? Even for your guys, you have a code problem. How do you put pit and breakthrough in this? It's important. It's important that you bring people in the pit. They could be, look, you know, you guys are looking at this for a whole minute and you can't figure it out, right? I know. Because I looked for this for hours and I could not figure it out. You know, I'll tell you this, the first thing I did this, I was so sad. I was really giving up. I kind of, you know, I threw my computer on the floor, and, you know, my wife came to me and said, what's going on? And I said, you know, so whatever, I'm just kind of coming up with something. But, you know, do something like this. Make sense? All right, pit and breakthrough, that's how you tell a story. Sebastian, I think that's you now. All right?
Yeah, well, I'm just realizing that my first 10 slides are going in the trash now.
That's okay. That's okay, no problem. All right, so let me see here. Manage time. Okay, I'm a guy that's very hard to manage time. As you can see, I'm very hard at managing time, right? So here is what I did to solve it. I can't show it because my phone is right there. But I installed a tiny little application called Presentation Timer, right? And actually, it was a good application by itself. But I did message the guy that was writing it, and I asked him another feature, because this presentation timer, he would go down until 0, and when it got 0, it would stay on 0 forever. So I asked him to actually, it goes down to 0. So when it gets to 0, it starts flashing red. So you know it ended. But then it counts up. So you know how many minutes you're past your time, right? So that really helped me because it's visual. It's a little application. It's it's like a sun. When you put it, it's kind of, the sun is kind of coming up, right? So it's like black backgrounds, and then when you start the timer, it starts filling up the screen with like a sun coming out of the horizon, right? So it's kind of filling up the screen, and then as time goes by, it starts green, and then goes, it goes yellow, and then gets red towards the end, right? So so it's a good visual tool. So that's what I do now. I just put this thing on in front of my laptop or somewhere I can see it, and so this has helped me. I'm not doing this now because we kind of have open-ended time here, but when I have time, I put this there, and that's how I finish my presentation. So the point is, when you see that you have 1 minute, right? Doesn't matter where you are, you just wrap up. So as I was saying, guys, this whole thing is important because this and that, and blah blah blah. And if you need, you should have mentioned your call to action before. Right? Don't let you mention the call to action in the last minute. You should mention your call to action 3 times in your presentation at least. 3 times. Right? So you mention one towards the middle, then again, and then towards the end. Right? So 3 times at least, so people don't pay attention the first time you say it. So 3 times. I do sometimes 5 or 6 times. Right? You can just mention, oh, have you registered yet? If you're not, we're almost over the time, so register now. Right? So just mention it and leave it on the screen so people can follow up. But, so at the last minute, you say, this is blah, blah, don't forget to register. Thank you very much. And that's it. So you cut it. That's how you manage time. Right? You have to know when to end. Now, what if I had lots of content that I didn't show? Don't rush through it. I mean, I prefer if you not rush through it. Unless it's something very important that you really have to say. But then you have to notice there's like 5-6 minutes before the presentation ends, so you can rush through those things, right? So a good way to do this is, if you have problems with managing time, leave questions at the end. Don't answer questions during the presentation, and then just kind of don't leave time for questions if you need, right? I like to have questions during the presentation. I like to do what we just did here, have questions before, because now I know I can talk about all those things here during the thing. Okay, make sense? All right. So questions at the end. I like questions all the time. I prefer. Right? But the best way, if you're new at this, leave questions to the end. Don't answer questions in the middle, because questions in the middle can completely cause havoc on what you're presenting. Because you don't know how to do it, you take too long or whatever, right? So if you do questions in the middle, try to answer them quick. Like for example, you're doing a presentation for the first time? If you're doing a first time presentation, forget most of the things I said here. Just remember how to start and how to have a call to action. That's it. So, you answer quick, so you keep going, right? If you do questions in the middle and you're not very used to it. Unless you do like I do, that it doesn't matter what you're going to talk about. It matters answering the question. That's a good thing too, right? So question at the end is easier. Language problems. The biggest thing you can do with language problem is slow down. Slow down, right? If you slow down, you make less mistakes. If you slow down, you shuttle less, right? If you slow down, you use less filler words. You use less rights or If you slow down, slow down. Instead of putting a lot of things in it, slow down and say, talk to people, right? it's a good hint from Daisy Blevins. Bring a glass of water. Bring a bottle of water. If you're talking too much, it forces you to slow down. Have you taken a picture? Cá. Foto. Vai lá. Vai lá. Okay, she doesn't want to take me. All right, so I'm just going to finish. Yes, me and then we go do group food, right? Okay, really quick here. So, so language, just slow down. Co-presenting. This is the most amazing thing you can do ever. Seriously. You know, go present with someone, right? Bring someone into your presentation. Go, you know, that's the most amazing thing because you make friends. You know new speakers. You know, everyone thanks you for your generosity for bringing people in. Go present with people. That's the best thing ever, right? You know, I love this. Memorize or improvise, right? You need to know your presentation. It's like the magician. You need to know how to do your magic the right way so you can improvise. Right? You have to be confident of your presentation so you can be ready for the rest. Presentation is never memorizing. It's never read what you wrote. Never, ever, ever. Every presentation is different. When you're talking about something says like this, or you say something like this, you change your presentation. Right? Oh, you're not understanding? Let me repeat this. You just change your presentation. You can't memorize it. That said, if you are doing it for the first time, if you're nervous, my suggestion is memorize the very first, like the first 3 to 5 minutes of presentation. Seriously. Walking on stage, you memorize that. Walking on stage and say, "Hi, hello everyone. Let me tell you guys a joke." And then you memorize a joke. You tell a joke. Or you memorize, I'm gonna walk into the stage, I'm gonna say, "Hi everyone, who here is a Java developer? Who here is this? Who here is this?" So you memorize this initial sequence. And you repeat exactly, because that will prevent you from blanking. That will prevent you from being nervous, because you know exactly what you're gonna do. And once this first 3 minutes pass, adrenaline goes down a little bit, you're ready to go. So that's the only time I suggest you memorize. Really memorize, right? Content for diverse skilled audience. The thing is, you want people to follow you, right? So you want people to start at a place and you take them to somewhere else. So how do you do to different audience? You start by putting everyone in. Who here has already worked with Java 8? Ask who here has worked with Java 8. Okay, so I see one guy who hasn't worked with Java 8 yet. So let me quickly, you know, all you guys are not gonna need this, but he needs it. So, you know, Java 8 was very important because this and that. So now that you all know the importance of Java 8, let's go through these things here for Java 9. Right? So now I can go talk about Java 9, and so you get some basics. Right? And then you add more and more specific things, right? Until you get to something that no one knows about. Right? Your last thing is something that no one knows about, like something very specific. There's going to be like 2 people in the audience that heard of that. Right? But now this guy that didn't know anything, he's going to be able to follow it. He's going to get to that point. It's like, oh man, I can't even follow this. It's too complex. That's okay. But at least you have a little bit for everyone. Okay, that's a good way. All right. So let's see what else. Oh, slides, code per slide. There's no ratio. It's all about getting attention to the people. It's all about making sure that people can follow you. It's all about making sure that people can understand you. If a piece of information is better, if you show code, show code. If a piece of information is better, showing a diagram, show a diagram. If a piece of information is better that you talk with people, talk with people. If a piece of information is better that you put a video, put a video. It's all about keeping the attention of the audience all the time. So if it's not a ratio, it's not a specific way. But you know, it's finding what is the best thing to show that one thing you want to show about, you want to talk about. And a lot of times it's being silence. It's hard. It's very hard. You know, I'm saying it's an anti-pattern. You should not spend a whole minute in silence. When I walked into a guy's presentation like last year at Java 1, and I walk in, I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's not everything silence. It's like, no, don't do it. But yes, you do it and it works. You see, so it's not one size fits all. You know, you have to test things out. That's why you do present in user groups, you present lots of people, so you test things out. Okay? So there's no, if you're following on something and you go from slide to demo and people lose the information, they can't follow that thing, something, you know, you have to fix the transition. Right? We had a problem like this. You know, we had a demonstration some time ago, me and Elder Moraes, we had a demonstration where we went from one thing to the next, and on that transition, we lost people, right? And we just realized that when we were presenting for the first time, that he said things, and I was like, what just happened? You know, I wasn't able to follow. I knew exactly what we were talking about. I wasn't able to follow. So, you know, you fix that, right? So it's not really like a perfect ratio. Okay, first, we talked about first times already. Differentiate yourself from the competition. This is your description, right? But how, you know how you differentiate yourself from the competition? Promote your talk. Promote on social media. Promote to other speakers. Promote to people that you talk to in your conference. Promote your talk. How do you promote your talk? By doing what the exercise we did before. Hey, that's very cool. You're a Star Trek audience. You know I'm going to talk about Star Trek in my talk? Are you serious? No, not really about Star Trek. But, you know, this whole thing about being a leader that you have in Star Trek, you know, that's the thing my presentation is about. Oh, cool. You know, I would love to be a leader, so, you know, you should come to my presentation. You see, find ways to, on the conference, anyone that you can bring to your presentation, that's good. Right? You know, if your presentation is going to have 100 people, now it's going to have 101. But it's going to have 2, now it's going to have 3. Right? So, it's always good. All right? Make sense? Okay, guys. Thanks very much. And it's being recorded. I'm going to be here for the whole week. If you guys want to have, you know, if you have a presentation, and you want to sit down with me, have a look at your slides, either me, Rodrigo, we're going to be here. We've been helping speakers to adjust their slides for a long time. So if you want to have us to sit down with you and take a look and help you in the call to action, we're going to be here for the conference to do that. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And so the idea is that, you know, we would do a, you know, like open discussion for the rest of the day. I think, you know, you guys have to go to the keynotes. You know, he has another, he should go to the keynote too. So you have to go to the keynote too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to the breakout.
Right. So, you know, so everyone's going to leave. So I'm not going to hold you more than we need to. But, you know, feel free to reach out to me during this week, and we can see what we can do to help your presentation. Okay?
Good presentation.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. All right. So we're going to order for the pizza, and so, oh, you're going to take a good picture. So all of you guys are watching us, thank you very much for participating in this. Thanks for participating in it. And, you know, you can always reach me out at code4.life. Code4.life, right? And I'm not going to do any call to action here, but if you have any issue with your presentation or your career and you want to have a discussion with me, let me know. You know, you read my book. If you have any problem with your career, they want to discuss. You know, let's schedule with me before you leave. Schedule with me a time that we can talk about. Okay? All right? Okay? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that's watching. Thanks a lot. Oh, they're not going to get pizza. Yes, they're not going to get pizza. Yes. Sorry, guys, they're not going to get pizza. Yes, go ahead, stop.